Hey everybody, and welcome on back to Building with Whip. Today we are back here in our single player world and I am so freaking excited. Very sorry for the lack of content from this world over the last few episodes. I know they've been kind of different ones, looking at the ray tracing shaders as well as kind of looking at what we can do inside of our Minecraft world after we beat the Ender Dragon and all that type of stuff, and basically how to find new projects to pick up and all those things. So if you want to check out some of my thoughts on those, be sure to go check out the last two videos from this world. That being said, however, we are back here in our single player world. Last time we were building inside this world, we built up this cool Chinese styled junk ship, which I thought was absolutely awesome. And today I would like to completely overhaul the docks that we have down here. I think the docks that we have right now, they're cool, they're all right, but I think we can completely change these up and turn them into something really, really cool. After we, in the what to do after you beat Minecraft video, we talked with Vigo Man during that a little bit and toured around his world of Krasberg, or his city of Krasberg that he's building. And I was really blown away and amazed by the docks that we were looking at on his world. So there's quite a few changes that I would like to start making to our docks here. I think we can make them a little bit more interesting. So with that, let's get this started. If I sound a little weird today, I'm recovering from a sore throat here, so my voice is a little harsh and hoarse still. But I think we're gonna kick this off into time-lapse mode. I'm gonna spend a bit of time building, and we are going to transform this dock. I think with those slight reworks we did, this area is actually going to be really, really cool in the end. This corner went down here with this very large square thing in it. We're going to be turning into a lighthouse. I know it's kind of weird that it went down out on the corner here, but I thought it'll work really well. And then I added some stairs that just kind of walk down to the water and then drop off the edge there. I feel like it looks better than having stairs go all the way down to the end. So I'll get to work on this lighthouse here pretty shortly, but I want to give you all a heads up on everything else. This right here is going to be a crane that's actually going to be positioned sideways, so it actually looks like it's filling up more of this empty space instead of just hanging out into nothingness, because it wouldn't be used for this boat, so there's no point in having it already hanging out in that direction. And we want to make sure it's pretty long because it needs to be able to stretch probably out to like where that rudder is, so we're going to make sure it's going to be a pretty big crane once we get through it. But over here, we're going to have like a small fishmonger. You can think like a fish market of sorts. So we're going to have 3 different stalls. They're all going to be selling different types of fishy stuff over there. Right here, we're going to throw in a wagon. And then this section down on this one is going to be a bunch of covered storage areas inside of here. So it'll be 3 different ones to hold like goods on the docks here and things like that. And then this down here is going to be an inn. That's going to be at the end of the dock, so kind of like a bar on the first floor and then a small secondary upper floor that might hang out over this way a little bit here just to get some extra rooms down here. And I figured this would be a really cheap and kind of dingy bar down at the bottom, so for all the sailors. And these new little pier bits that we have for the docks down here, I absolutely love. One thing I never really enjoyed from the build that we had so far was I felt like the docks we had looked very, very out of place compared to everything else that we did. And these little, changing it up just this slight amount for these tiny walkways out here to the center, 1, opened up a lot more space to be able to throw in some more boats, and 2, made it so that it actually looks a lot better. One thing Vigo did mention, however, when we were talking earlier during our tour, I don't think I included this clip, but a good thing to use if you're building your own cities is leave some of the docks without boats in them. So we'll probably add in another boat like right here, and we'll maybe add in one more boat right over there. But outside of that, actually, I don't know. That would put us at 5 in this area, so an odd number is probably pretty good. But we want to leave some of them open, especially when it's the daytime here, because then it looks like some of our fishermen are out into the distance, out here fishing. that it makes sense for them to not be there. So maybe the ones that we leave empty in there, we have to add at least one fishing boat just kind of trolling around out here trying to get everything. And we really got to come save these polar bears soon. Welcome on back, everybody. It's been quite a few days. I got knocked down pretty hard there, so I'm trying to get things back here going, moving forwards. I'm hoping I can get this video out to y'all on time, but we will see on that one. So what I wanted to come in here and do is start making a few little areas where we might be able to have some shelving of sorts. I want to start focusing on the smaller details inside of our world and not building quite so big and grand, because I feel like it was starting to give me a little bit of a burnout. I think I'm also a little bit recovering from the sick brain here, so I'm just working slowly throughout here, and I was thinking a few little shelving bits like that could be pretty cool for some things, as far as this is going to be our fishmongers area, and the overall shape of it is pretty simple. It's just this straight line over here, and I decided to bring this section back in a little so it wasn't exactly straight and flat across the entire thing. And then I wanted to start adding in a few note blocks throughout here and making a few stands. And we have these stone cutters, which I figured could look great as a form of like just a cutting table, where they can be getting rid of, like, if somebody's like, ooh, I only want about half the fish, they can come over here and just, you know, choppy and get rid of half of the fish, and then they can sell it to somebody else. So I figured we could have one of the stone cutters placed back in here. Can we get that, please? We can. And something like that would probably do a good job, and then be a tripwire hook if they have some things to hang and all that stuff around here. And then I need to start coming in here and just planning out where a few like benches and tables and things would be going, so they can actually like showcase their wares and everything like that. I don't want to do too much along the ways of what we did in our little fishmonger shop that we made up here. We had a small fish stand that we made a long time ago in this one, which I like this one. We're using a lot of armor stands in here, which is how we're placing in all those salmon, how they're standing up here, using the armor stands data pack, but unfortunately that thing causes a lot of lag, so I'm not really using it anymore. But we could start throwing some fish around similar to how this one is. I think that could be kind of a good way. So I'm gonna mess around with this thing for a while and I'll be back. I decided to change one of these over to being seashells. Since we have Nautilus shells, I went back over to my storage room and I was like, wait, these things exist in the game. So this one right here, the smaller shop, is selling seashells. So kind of collectibles, selling seashells by the seashore. One of the greatest phrases of all time. And over here, we have our two salmon stations here as well. Or this one has some cod and this one has some salmon. And I like it. I think they're both pretty basic. I think they do the work. I'm purposely not putting lights on these, however, because this is something that I want to only be really like in operation during the day. They really wouldn't be out here because the fishing boats would go out at dusk, right? Dawn, the morning, really early in the morning. They'd go out, catch their fish, and when they catch their load of fish for the day, then they come back in here and set up. So there's no really need for anybody to be based out of here during times of darkness. So we don't need lights down here, and so that's kind of cool aspect to it that was really on purpose here. So maybe we had some way to close these all down when the sun goes down, but no, that's really not going to happen. It's Minecraft, and there's enemies nearby. That's no fun. What are we doing? Oh, you know, I think they're under the ground. I think they're right under me. Let's just go sleep over here. I'll tell y'all what, though. I want to be working on that little lower area that we had out on the front section, the rounded part. I want to throw in a lighthouse out there, and I've got a cool idea in mind. So let's kick this off into time-lapse mode. Now things might look a little different right now, but bear with me as we take a look through this one. I really like the overall shape of this one. Hopefully y'all did enjoy the time lapse there. Since then, I have done the interior. What the heck is getting at me over here? These things. All right, whoever said make this area dark, worst idea ever. There are just spiders and skeletons and things in here constantly. They aren't spawning in here, but I've been staying up late throughout the nights to work on builds like these. and they keep spawning and staying under there, but I don't think that'd be avoidable anyways. And we were down to our last cooked salmon, but I did the interior of this structure, and it's awesome. And that little jutting out part will make a lot more sense when we go through this. So pretty basic down here. Got a little bit of hidden storage behind that doorway right there, not too much going on. Then we come up here, and I wanted to add a bedroom. There's not enough space in here to add a bedroom. So we got a little table and chairs, and I was like, you know what? We're building this for the interior, so we're just gonna knock this back. We're just gonna push it out there, make a bedroom area. So this guy's little bedroom is right here. He can look out over the docks. We got a nice little bed. This little furnace right here actually has a chimney on the outside as well, and that's kind of where everything's going right there. Some books and additional storage right up in that area, and that gets you up to our top of the lighthouse, which is a campfire. But anyways, over there, this little spot right here, that's where our chimney comes out of it. I think that is just so cool. And one little thing, I don't know if y'all saw it on here, I think we need to get in the air to be able to see this one a little bit better, is I added a bell on top of the lighthouse. I just felt like we needed a little bit of flash of color up here. So we got that nice little bell up there. So we got the fire there, and then the bell is on top. There's no real way, functional way that you could ring this, but let's say somehow they have something coming up through the middle of these beams. And I like this one a lot. Hopefully y'all did enjoy this too. I think the interior on it's pretty sweet. I like that we changed the structure to fit the interior instead of making the interior fit the structure. I think that adds a lot more uniqueness to the build itself. And now building another exterior thing, I think it's time we tackle this crane. I built a foundation that we're going to be using for our crane here, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to build the rest of this thing up with you all here. This one is something that I'm not 100% sure on yet. I've been using barrels around us a lot up here so we can have some form of just like way of reinforcing things. And I like the iron texture that we have around the barrels. I feel like it's kind of like a big iron strapping of sorts, which I thought was pretty cool. Up this middle column here, I think we're going to have some sort of a fence gate or a fence or maybe a wall block or something coming up there. And then we'll make a mechanism down at the base that'll look like that we can actually turn this thing and make it move around and do all that fancy stuff that a crane would probably need to do. But I wanted to come out this way a bit and start bringing ourselves out and bring ourselves away from the block itself so we can actually figure out kind of the scale that we're working with here. And I was thinking if we kind of have it coming out this way and then arching up a lot from here, I think it could be kind of cool. So we can kind of bring ourselves up another block like that, and then doing another fence right here, we can bring ourselves all the way up to the top. And then from here, I think we can start to really bring it like inching out to the sides and everything like that. And I think this one will really like start to feel pretty solid up here as far as a crane would go. I think it's going to be pretty good. This one, I'm really just making it up as we go here. I'm not too certain what the end result is going to be at this time. We're really just playing with this one and seeing what we can come up with. So I think we'll have a good point right here, and then we can start to bring some oak logs back up in here and have these be sticking out a little bit further. And then that should be like this oak fence that's at the very end right now. That should be the end point on this log in total. Like I think that's going to be the very end of this. And then I'm thinking we might start bringing this back down. Like if we bring it back down like somewhat evenly, so 2 blocks at a time. And then we can kind of fill in the entry open areas with some fences. I think that might work for us. And that should give us a pretty solid point right here where we can have a kind of a decent front point to it. I'm gonna take a quick step back here and see how this is looking from my own point of view. So our crane has changed quite a bit since the last time you saw it. I was working on adding in a few areas where it'd make it look like we could have it actually turning and things, and I couldn't really figure it out within the structure that we had itself, so I decided to stretch it out a bit to the side with this thing that you're seeing here. And it looks pretty crazy now. This is feeling very industrial. I brought in some sandstone walls down the middle there just because I felt like the only thing that we could use that didn't look like stone, and we don't really use sandstone like that throughout here at all, maybe except in that building, so it doesn't really like look like it's too much like anything else, so it kind of fit in here a little bit better than I think anything else would have. But it's looking pretty sweet. Check out that crane right there. I need to make it look like it's rolled up is my next goal, is to have a small little section barely hanging off the end of that, because I don't want it to be at a point where this boat would have hit it, or this is like hanging on the back of the boat. So it's gonna be really tight up there with just the hooks. It actually, maybe we have like the base of it just sitting over here, So it's like something that they can attach on or off, and then that allows larger boats to get into this area. And there we go. I think we got a pretty awesome looking crane going on here. I really like this one. I think that is really, really cool. That leaves a few things left for today's project. So we've got to finish up this covered storage area, and I would love to get the inn done, but then we have to decorate a few things around this area, especially like these open areas where I'm just kind of standing in right now. We got to figure out some spots that we can store goods in there and all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna get our cart built up here, the wagon that we have. We'll just get that thing out of the way, and then I'll get like the basic shapes for our storage area in here, and then we can figure out the inn from there. Actually, the inn might be worthwhile to tackle first, since it's going to be jutting itself out over the top of the storage area, so I don't want to build this thing up too much yet. I've been working on our bar a little bit over here, an inn bar, whatever we want to call it, something down by the docks where people can get a drink and spend the night if they need to. And I decided that I wanted to lower the floor down. I felt like that kind of gave it a cool atmosphere. So you walk in here, you walk down into this little like more darker, dingier environment. We'll fill it with a bunch of tables and everything. Should be pretty cool. And then you can come up again on this side, and then you can get up to where all of the rooms are going to be. And this side right here is actually, we're going to be wanting to be opening that up and then bringing this stuff out over here. And I think we can grab some slabs and some full blocks here as well, and do a little bit of action kind of like this. And then maybe we can bring it all the way out over here. I'm trying to think of a way that we can make it connected into this side, because I wanted to extend this out. So we'll have a tiny, tiny little storage area under here. And then the floor for this section, hopefully I have enough of these, was just gonna all be some trapdoors. And that's close enough for me. We'll fill it out just with some full blocks to the rest of that point. But I figured something like that could be kind of cool. We can have a little tinier storage area in here. These two will be bigger enough to fit a cart inside of, and that should be pretty good. But overall, I just need to get the top part of this roof on now, and I've been bringing up a bunch of the oak planks, and I think at this point right here, hello, pillager. You're not allowed to get on that boat. You don't own that boat. I was thinking at this point we could start bringing it in just one block at a time and making this top section. I want the roof to be really small in here. I don't want this to be too tall at all. Well, maybe 2 blocks tall, but not too high off the ground, you know. And then that should be enough to bring it in right here. I want this area to look like the rooms are very, very closed in here and very small and just kind of fitting into the gaps up above. I'm cutting out a few points where we're going to have some windows, but overall it's going to be very, very small and very, very tight in here. So I'm gonna get the rest of this one in, and then I'll be back with y'all. I think this is probably one of the most ramshackle structures I've built up in quite a long time, but I absolutely love this thing. It's so cool. It's just so random. The roof is really just a mess on top of it too. And I wanted to make it look like this thing was just, it's like I said earlier, like dilapidated. So there's not a whole lot holding it together. It's kind of old. It's really dingy. There's not too much going on down here. I think we did a good job of that. I need to get the interior built in here, and then I need to build a chimney on top of it as well. But I'm waiting to do the chimneys now until after I plan out the interior and do everything in there. So I'm gonna get all that stuff in, and we can start filling in a few places like this just to fill in the tops of this. And I was thinking it might be kind of nice to bring in our roof just a little bit and start adding a bit more like depth into this thing, so we could maybe start bringing it down something like this and just bring that down and bring it a little bit closer into the base here. And I think that'll give us a good little bit of atmosphere feeling into here. So I'm gonna mess around with the roof design on the inside as well. Can't sleep because of monsters, but I think it's also a great time to take a look at this house here. Do I have lanterns on me? I don't. Let's go grab some real quick. We need to add some light to the outside of this one, but the whole interior of it is completely done, which is awesome. I love it. It feels very, very cool, and it's really getting that feeling that I wanted to have in this area. I just want to add a few lights down here so you know that the patrons who are coming to the bar late at night or getting off their boats after the sun is set are able to find their way into the bar. We still need to add like a little sign out here. Coming inside the bar, the interior, as mentioned, is completely finished up. We got a nice gray carpet down here and a bunch of seating area. Decided to throw a few cobwebs in the ceiling as well to make it look like whoever the bar owner is here, they're not too concerned about keeping the place the cleanest. All they care about is getting people in here and getting some money out of them, basically. And then coming up here to the second floor, I'll close that for now. We got a nice little seating area somewhere for the people who are spending the night can hang out up here if they want a bit of a quieter environment. Then what's down below, and then we have one bedroom back in here, which is pretty good. I love using trapdoors as a wall because I feel like it really opens up the space, because we filled this here with full blocks, it would look a little more cramped in this area when it already is really small in here. Then we got another small second bedroom, and then more of a hostel type of bedroom, so basically just open beds is in here. We've got 5 beds hidden over in this way, and I think that is pretty great. I like this one a lot. I think we did a pretty dang good job here. One thing that I do need to move forward to working on and finishing up the last thing in today's episode, because I know we're going to be a pretty long one at this point, is we got to build this covered storage area and fill it with the junk. Adding a few details inside of this area. Ooh, actually that one, we need to change direction of this place. I think we go like that right there. Perfect. All right. Oh, that needs to be picked up. Okay. Well, avoiding everything being broken, I added a small seating area outside here, which I thought was pretty cool, and added in this small cart on the end there, and then got some water bottles up here to show the signs for the bar and whatnot, and it looks pretty good. Outside of that, this area is complete as well, but we are way the heck out of time for today's episode. So if y'all did like this one, if y'all enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button. It helps me out a bunch. But let's get into the comment question of the day. This one's coming in from Sarah Kikogni. I'm sorry, I probably totally butchered your last name there. You should build an elytra course under the mountain range. I see this question about 5 times every single, or comment about 5 times every single video. I think that would be a really cool idea. I would love to do some like crystal caverns or just like giant things in there, because we're talking about doing the goblin caves. Let's take a little flyby over up in this area. And also this book here is to show you that I still do keep track of the comments or question of the day. We eventually will have a place for them to live, but I would love to, underneath the mountain range here, we could have a cool like huge cavern system where we can have the elytra course going through, and even add in some hostile mobs like some archers or skeletons or something shooting at you. But I thought that'd be so cool to add like a elytra course underneath here. It is something I'm working on, but we got to finish the upper part of the mountain range first before we can do that, and then we get a good idea of the scale and size of everything that we have down there. But if anybody has ideas on what types of things to include in said elytra course, be sure to let me know, because I am all ears on that one, or all eyes, I guess I'd be reading in the comments. But that's gonna have to do it for today. As I mentioned, please hit that like button if y'all did enjoy. It means a heck of a lot to me. Hit that subscribe button if you are new, and I will catch y'all on the flip side.